Our country's early explorers and pioneers set out westward across some very rugged and beautiful terrain. Now we already live about as far west as you can get. So with adventure in our hearts, we decided to head eastward. Did I get that backwards? We decided to head eastward in hopes of seeing some of that still rugged and beautiful terrain. Now with a faster rig and limited time, we'd made our way cross country much quicker. By the second day on the road, we had covered Washington, Idaho, and much of Montana. And we arrived at Yellowstone National Park. We made our way to Norris Campground, where we had a reservation for the night. Went to the administration building, and there was a friendly guy sitting with a uniform on at a computer. Typed a little bit, pulled up our reservation, says, "Yep, got you right here for next Saturday." "You're a bit early, aren't you?" I was like, "What? Oh my God, we got the wrong week." Well, he says, "Yeah, we're pretty filled up for the summer." But he kept typing in his computer. After about 10 minutes, he located a campsite that they must save for emergencies. Well, once we got that straightened out, he started explaining to us the rules about camping in grizzly bear country. Not only can't you leave any food laying around, you can actually get ticketed for having a water bottle sitting on your picnic table. Wow. We made it through the rules, and we went to our campsite, went to get it set up. Now for this trip, we were going to camp in luxury, our big family tent. Because for a number of years, Mary and I had only been using our backpacking tents. Got to work setting it up. Turns out, what a wreck. Our girls had been the last one to use the tent and had blown into the lake. Bent the poles, it got beaten around in the sand and waves. There were holes in it. And the worst part was that the zipper didn't close. So it was wide open to bears and mosquitoes. About the time I got it set up, it started to rain. I made a snap decision. We're going to have to sleep in the covered wagon. So for 5 nights of our 2-week trip, all 4 of us plus the dog piled into this truck. We slid luggage underneath, and some of us slept in the front, some in the back. Now on the first night, Rachel got her turn at the front seat. She laid across the front seat, got up in the middle of the night, and threw up. Second night, Heather got the front seat. She woke up in the middle of the night, threw up. Both the girls concluded that it must have been the bump in the seat against their stomachs. I don't know. Anyway, just imagine the hardships the pioneers must have gone through. Well, when it was my turn for the front seat, I just reclined the driver's seat, and I slept pretty good. Now, our next day in the park, it was raining, but we went and visited a waterfall, and then we saw a lot of the sights that Yellowstone has. We saw the geysers, the boiling geysers, and the Old Faithful. We saw warning signs about the geysers. Boiling water, be careful. We saw a grizzly bear. And then we saw warning signs about grizzly bears. We saw elk. And we saw warning signs about the elk. And we saw bison. And as you might guess, we saw warning signs about the bison. Warning, many visitors have been gored. Now, I don't know how the pioneers ever made it across.
They had rifles.
Yeah, I guess so. Yep. We saw a ground squirrel. I didn't find the warning signs, but I'll bet they were there somewhere. Well, the next day, the sun came out, and we headed to Grand Teton National Park, just to the south. So did a lot of our other fellow explorers. And because of all the recent rain, so did the mosquitoes. But we did manage to get in a nice hike. We saw a beautiful sunset. And the next day, we were going to continue on to Minnesota. And Mary was so happy to be done with the rough-it camping that she celebrated by stuffing our tent into a dumpster.
Duh.
Good job.
Now, on the way to Minnesota, we stopped at the Buffalo Bill Museum, and we saw how the real explorers and pioneers did it. And I decided maybe we really didn't have it so bad. Well, we got to Minnesota, and my sister and brother-in-law lent us a much bigger rig. And it was so luxurious, it was like an Eastern hotel. It was wonderful. We visited lots of family. And my sister and brother-in-law also brought us on their riverboat for a cruise. We enjoyed that. It even had a dance floor on the front. Now my family got a little bit spoiled by all this luxury. So when it was time to head back westward, they didn't want to sleep in the truck again. Our faithful rig carried us all the way to Montana that first day. And they were working very, very hard at wiring every hotel. But unfortunately, they were all full. Got to be nighttime, and much to Mary's disappointment, we ended up having to stay at a wayside rest, sleep in the truck once more, with a bunch of fellow travelers. Kind of like that. Late the next day, we made it back to Bellingham, and we were all thrilled to be home.
Mr. Timer, maybe 60 seconds for
You can
feedback to the speakers, and this time it will be
Take this out.
speaker number 2 and the
find best
cups
speaker.
on each side of the room.
That's this one. You can vote. Or Curt. If you want.
Thank you, Mr. Timer. And now it is time to select our favorite speaker, and for the benefit of our guests, at the bottom of the sheet, you'll see there is a best evaluator, best speaker, and best table topic speaker. If you would like to vote for the speaker you enjoyed the most, please write that person's name down and give it to our awards presenter, Adley.
The time report?
Ah, yes. And while he's collecting your votes, we will have a timer's report.
Big man Toastmaster. Donna, her time window was 8 to 10 minutes, and she was 9 minutes and 3 seconds. Curt also had a window of 8 to 10 minutes, but he was short at 7 minutes and 10 seconds.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Timer. I'm nevertheless optimistic that someone will get best speaker. Has everyone voted?
No.